Okay, so here's the final installment of my Avenger video. It's kind of done. I mean, are they ever really, truly done? I don't know. So I always find other things that I want to do, things that look stupid I need to change. I've never seen a model yet that I was really satisfied with. I mean, you can probably shrink down the real thing. That is on backwards. See? That little tiny disc there on the engine, that should be going the other way. Yeah, I put it on and there's a lot of laziness on this, I'll just admit. I'm just done with it because you can just work so much and then get tired of it. Any later time. Right now I'm just a little tired. I did not do any brake lines. I had that in store. I was going to do that. In fact, there's a piece of Q-tip here. I was going to do that, and I did not do the brake lines. There is, I believe it's a motor actuator. Motor actuator, I think, went right about there. I don't have it now. So, a little sloppy work on the inside here. I don't think it's that great. I don't exactly like my chipping here that I've done. Needs to be maybe subdued a little more. I'm happy with the fuel stains. I am happy with the non-skid. Let me turn the lamp on. The lamp always makes the colors freak out, I swear. But I'm pretty happy with the anti-skid that I did. And I put some couscous. And I ground up couscous with a mortar and pestle. And it worked pretty good, actually. I put it on some Mr. Surfacer 500 and then sprayed over it. Cockpit, I was decently happy with. I used an Edward kit. I made those little lights myself there. Why? They're really out of scale. They really are. Why did I do that? Well, one of the references I used was this book here. In Detail and Scale. Got this used off of Amazon. And in the color photo, here, starts with the engine. But it ends up, every time I pull this thing, every time I pull this kit out, something goes wrong, something breaks, something happens. My antenna here, these godforsaken cats decided to try and chew on it. It was actually underneath the rudder, between the horizontal stab and the rudder, looped down under there. I was just really fortunate, felt lucky that I got a pair of tweezers. I mean, just 10 minutes ago, and unwrapped it, and it's in one piece. I'm just, thank God. So the lights here, I'm not sure. There's a green, a yellow, and a red, and the book shows that there is a green, a yellow, and a red. So horribly out of scale. Horribly out of scale. But I was really trying hard to get everything down. And especially this photo right here. I did decently. There's switches that aren't on there, that aren't red. Templates I tried to recreate too. Let's see. Take it from that angle. And then take it to that angle. Somewhat, I guess. A lot of templates and stuff. The Edward detail set that comes in there, I did not like some of these. The compass is pretty cool. That's good. That doesn't look bad. But I'm not. Yeah, let me get my big. That fuse panel over there is very flat. Great colors and all. I love it. You know, but it just kind of falls flat. You know, even I sprayed matte coating inside, wasn't that happy. I used the decals on this, I'll just be honest. I sprayed the stars. That I cut out myself. You can probably tell it's not the greatest. I used Montex mask for this on the side. The Montex mask cost me an arm and a leg. But I'm going to tell you, it went down so nice. It went down really well. So, there's the Bandit right there. Coming in for another work over on the model. The Montex mask worked really good. These decals here, that you see right here, that we can focus on at some point today, they're thick. I had a really hard time sanding those down. They're not sanded down completely. I got sick of it. I was lazy. I got done with it. I was tired of it. Look, the interior green still looks like a gaudy 70s green. I can change lighting with my LED. That's a little better. That's a little more realistic. The Montex mask used on every one of these windows, on the panes, on the canopy panes. It turned out really good. Let's use that one. Get these settings over here. These another thing I wasn't happy with, the seam. You'll see a seam line here. I had the seam line sanded out. The seam line came back. Obviously some shrinkage underneath something. I don't know. Very odd. Very odd. But there's a seam line there. See it? Right there. Landing lights, I used, I was out of my Guru Fix UV light, UV resin. Here's what's not done on the kit. Okay. I used as a matter of fact, I used a new product. The landing lights, there's a tiny light inside. I have not finished. There we go. That's a little better. Maybe you can't see the light inside. But there's one in there. It's supplied in the kit. See the little doors there? There's supposed to be two, almost like a clamshell or butterfly there, that open up. And that's what you tie the wing to back. There's a tie down right here. I don't know. I guess that's in reality. There's a tie down back there. Kick this up. See the tie down? So this would be coming up. Of course, you're going to have elevator that was all the way deflected up that way. So that ties to that. Now, two things wrong with that. First of all, the little thread they supplied with it, it will not go through that. The strands I use don't fit through that eyelet whatsoever. And there's really nothing here to tie it down to, right in here, on this side of the wing. There's my landing light. There's that light. But there's nothing in here to tie that to. There's a hole, like I'm missing something to go in there. I don't know where it's at. I don't know if they didn't include it. There's nothing in the instructions that tells me to put one in there. Now the new product I use is, let me get it. So VMS, Vantage Modeling Solutions. These guys, man, I really like them. Most of their stuff you get from, it comes from, I guess, Great Britain. Transpafix 6K. You use that with the universal weathering carrier? You have to. So you have to buy, it's a real racket. You have to buy this to thin out that. And this right out the top. When you open the lid, when you start pulling that out, it makes really good, like, little spider strings. Teeny tiny little strings of, look like spider web. So you get the universal weathering carrier, whatever that's made of. I have no clue. Anyway, use that, and you can. It's for fixing canopies. And I thought, you look at their YouTube video, and it looks like it goes on pretty clear and pretty nice. You see what I mean by there's a hole there, but there was nothing in the instructions to put a tie there to tie it down to the rear with. I do like the, but I got a lot of products from VMS. This paper shaper is really neat. They've got a video on YouTube with that. Looks really good, really cool. The transpo worked really well. I'm gonna start using that on my canopies. I've used PVA glue. I've used all kinds of canopy glue, lots of different glues. That was one problem I ran into with this. Okay, let me show you another product they have first. Flexi 5K CA. This is great stuff. Man, it holds like super glue, but it does not snap. Unless you really want to snap it off. That's what I used arsenal right here. This is the stuff, baby. The only thing is, when I first got it, I thought, well, you can see that's chewed up right there. Well, the spout, I decided to just put a pinprick in and just I don't want it drying out. So I put a pinprick in it. Then it just started gooing out like crazy. Air pressure, differential, I guess, made it come out. I'd squeeze it out and there's a bunch left, so I'd wipe it. And boy, it would, it tended to want to stick to whatever got in contact with it. Well, I guess it leaked out. I put the cap on. It was down tight. I couldn't get it. Then you go back to the YouTube video. Well, you don't just, my thought was, well, I'll just apply it here. Just squeeze a little bit out there, just tiny pinhole. I used a needle. That's not the way you use it. You're supposed to lay down a bead on some foil or a non-porous surface, and then you get a toothpick, wipe it on, and put it on something. And it's holding great on the antenna here where it's attached. Beautiful. In fact, I used it for that turnbuckle, sort of turnbuckle there. I started using it on anything that I thought would pop off or come out. I started using it on. It is fantastic. Though, if it's on paint, it's going to adhere to the paint. And if you mess with it to try and pull it off, it pulls the paint off first. I mean, it's like normal super glue. It's adhering to the surface, and it's not. You can get it to come off, but when it's on paint, the paint is going to come off, and you're going to have bare plastic or whatever's underneath. Looks like I have another problem with this. Well, I'm thinking anyway, I'm going to set these. I got some Holtex from VMS. That puts down a non-slip texture. Like I tried with, that's a bungler. I'm telling you, taking couscous wheat and grinding it up in a mortar and pestle and getting it fine enough to lay down on the Mr. Surfacer 500. That was not much fun. And I was airbrushing Mr. Surfacer 500 finally, but I got a pretty good texture over there. This one, not so much. Way more loose. But that's what I've got this for. This is a really fine media, a really fine little sand in there. That looks to be pretty neat. I think the VMS products are way overpriced, but the only place I know that Michigan Toy Soldier is where I got these from. I made quite a few quick looks on YouTube and Google, and I could not find a supplier. Almost no suppliers here, except for the Michigan Toy Soldier website's pretty nice. You can tell they've got that marked 11 for that, and this was 9. Actually, I got a discount. That's brand new. But the Transpa-Fix worked really good on my clear parts. Now, before I got what led me to get the Transpa-Fix was I'm using Flexi 5K on everything. And do you remember my compass that I made? Yeah, it's in there. It's right up in there that I couldn't live without. Can't see too much detail. It looks like there's actually simulated glass on it and everything, but I think it's there. But the big problem, being an idiot, guess what? Yeah, it still acts like super glue, and when you put it on there, it smokes the glass. Matter of fact, it had smoked most of the front glass when I put it in there. I took a lot of time to polish. I just could not get that smoke part out. It makes me sick. I hate it, but it is what it is. Let me turn that light off. It crazed the glass. But it is what it is. Those are my biggest flaws with this. So I'm not happy with. The interior here looks pretty good. The radios, the batteries in the rear. My ball turret turned out pretty good. Go in there. The seatbelts in there look really good. I think, looking back now, I wasted a lot of time for nothing up under here, and the interior up in there. You don't even see that stuff. All the photo etch I took so much pains to do. Now I'm pretty much covered up by wing, giant gull wing. The carrier deck, it's another thing, turned out really good. That was so simple. That didn't even probably take me an hour to do. I did not do a salt wash on this. Matter of fact, I did a bit of a gloss coat. I'm going to stop using gloss, especially if you're doing, see that decal sucks. Yeah, step is right, both of those. They're awful. I put down gloss coat before I did those. Matter of fact, I used Tamiya X22. Didn't help a bit. Decals suck. But combat aircraft just have that kind of dusty, dirty look, under an LED light. See, gloss really, they do have gloss sheen to them, but most of all, and you can't go by modern day photos. They're a waste, because these guys are trying to make them look, brand new, fantastic. But look at some of these photos. I mean, you can tell even the black and white. It's got a bit of gloss to it, but there's that dust and dirt that there you go, right there. See the differences in the panels and the wear? That's what I was trying to simulate here. Good color photos. So the ones I've got on my phone. See, there's our clamshell, and it ties to the horizontal stab, but I don't see. That's my problem. I've got the hook here, but I don't have it on the horizontal, or on the horizontal stab, but I don't have it right there. I hope you guys enjoyed the build. If you haven't seen my Billy Hooton tribute video, go over there and see it. It should be the last one on my channel. So go over there, check it out. You'll find out who the pilot was. My brother did most of the research on that. He did all of it. What should I say? He compiled it all. He talked to the pilots that were left like 10 or 15 years ago, when they were all mostly still alive. One of the guys who was a cameraman on the Avenger, he actually photoed. He sent my brother the photos that he took of the attack where Billy was lost. And he had pictures of him. The Department of Navy sent him a lot of the records on. They even have his aircraft was stricken from the record. My brother deserves most of the credit for the history on this aircraft. Now I researched what he knew the Foursquare. He knew that pattern. He knew all of that. But I had to research and find out some things. The number, I wish to God I had the number of the plane of his aircraft, but I don't. So I just decided not to put it on there. And okay, so I'm going to include some stills in here, just kind of walk you through the whole build. This is the ball turret. I've gone back, found as many old pictures as I could in here. This is when I was working on the ball turret, the gunner position in the rear. There's a lot of photo etch in there. They say that the ball turret itself is like a kit within a kit, but I didn't find it was that complicated. It didn't take me that much time. There's a lot of plastic, like parts of the kit you grind down and sand down and replace it with actual metal photo etch parts. But it wasn't hard. The hardest part was this led me to go to the VMS CA glue made for photo etch, because I had stuff popping off left and right. That gun joystick right there with the trigger, the box it goes into was on upside down. I had to break that off. I had to reinstall it correctly. Here's where I've got the actual glass on the actual canopy over the ball turret. The seatbelts turned out great. Those are metal photo etch, and I was really happy the way those turned out. I'm glad now after I painted, you can see down in there and see the belts. Here's the rear stinger gun position. This is a lot of stuff you're not going to see because it's all inside and covered up by the folded wings up in there. I folded the wings because they didn't exactly, the mechanism wasn't great that folds them. Right there, that reel, I actually wound lead wire around there. It's supposed to be some kind of cable that winds something in, antenna, or I don't know. See the radio panels? I took so much time and care doing that, and you don't even see it. There's a 30 cal on the bottom. Looks great. I love the wood on the grips. All that photo etch. See, there's metal right there and through that window that you're just not gonna see. Here's where I actually, I've actually put the fuselage together. I didn't use so much glue putting the two halves together, and it went together so well. I kind of surprised because the dry fit wouldn't always. I'm like, is this gonna go and look any good? But surprisingly, you'd put some glue in, boom, it'd go right together. I used just a minimum amount that maybe where that seam line showed back up behind the ball turret there later on because it shrank back, but I didn't want to gum the ball turret up. I wanted it to be able to move freely and not have glue everywhere, so I tried to be minimalist on that and not just goo it up with a bunch of gunk. So maybe some of it, the welds came loose. I don't know. There's the torpedo bay. That was kind of fun to put together. I weathered that with more of a gray, kind of a salty look. I figured to be exposed to more sea spray because your bay's going to be open a lot of times. We're over the ocean. Here I've dry fit the cowling on there. Those cowl flaps, I cut those back quite a bit to give them more depth, give them some separation between the metal. The engine's just laying in there. I think I put some washi tape in there to hold it together. Engine turned out pretty good. Aligning everything up there. Like I said, that everyone that I've seen that worked on the kit says the same thing. That firewall where the engine mounts up to it, the mounts inside, you're going to have to cut them to get that to go on there to not have a huge gap. So it brings up a problem. If you're going to open those panels between the cowling and the firewall where the instrument panel is, you're going to have to do some trickery in there. I've black based the front there, got it all together. I'm pretty pleased. The wings are done. I don't have any film of that. But see, they just slide in. They have these locking tabs. So I'd slide it ever so gently and go, wow, I've got this plane. Kind of the scale of it starts coming out. They had movable flaps. Glue those in place because the wings are folded. There's the torpedo doors there in the bottom. There's photo etch on those too. That's a metal to simulate the panel lines and everything in there. And here I painted the wings first. I did some tests on the tail, and I kept sliding those wings in because I'm like, wow, it looks really great, Of course, they're hinged and they flop around, but you really get impressed once you start getting. But that's what led me accidentally to snap them in there. Thank God I painted the fuselage. You can see the overspray there by the insignia. I didn't use Montex masks on this part of on the wings because I thought they were at a scale, but they weren't. I should have used them. I actually cut the decals out with an X-Acto and laid them up there as a mask, and they're a little irregular, but I don't know. See, you can tell there's a little overspray and they're a little bit jagged, and I had to go back in and kind of mop that up and correct some of that stuff. So, but it turned out pretty good with the weathering I did on top of it. I think I executed the whole layout. Here you go. The entire thing is done. And when you get in and you do that modeling, the modeled look of the paint, start off with the black base. I love the black basing, and coming in with a little bit of brown. The brown worked really good. So did NATO Black. Played it, and there's a SU-35, that eggplant from MRP. This is all MRP paint that really does a neat little job of just doing some weird hues and off color. There's the Montex mask. That works really good. Maybe other ones are at a scale or don't work good for people, but this right here worked. They worked excellent for me, especially on the canopy. I thought the canopy came out. I didn't know what to expect with the canopy. I thought it would come out. And I believe the wings. I accidentally once you put the wings so far up on those locking tabs, they're not even glued in. But once you put them in that locking tab, it's done. It's on there permanently. You see the overspray. The 4 squares are done here. See the white there on the tail. I had to go back through, and there's several layers of paint on this. I even went back through with some NATO black and tire rubber to just kind of cover those up, and then I'd come back in with my my gloss sea blue to put on there. This right here to me is one of the best photos. It looks so good here. It's so clean and so just natural. Right there, the close up. That's one of my favorite photos. I love the gun sight. I made that out of some thinner, clear, some clear. Anyway, made it out of some clear plastic. It was a lot thinner than the original gun sight, and I think I told you guys what happened. I lost the original gun sight, so I thought. And then I put that one on there, and I ended up using the original one anyway because I had such a pain trying to put that thing back in there after it came off. I wish I would have had the VMS glue when I did. That is a really good look at this plane. It's almost, it's like, wow, it's coming together. All I've got to do is get the canopy sprayed. There's a lot of weathering to do, though. I think somewhere in here I lost the compass, and I was really bummed out about that. And then you have to think about the weathering you've got to do on it. Getting ready to put the gear on, everything else. You feel like you're there. That torpedo looks wonderful. See the marbling there effect? The marbling effect there? It's looking excellent. Once you tie it all in with some filters on top of it, there's the prop. Prop's getting ready to be chromed. So I like to use the AK metal line. Their polished chrome looks really good to me. I use it almost everywhere on my planes. Right there you can see everything's done, but I don't have the antennas. There's glass right there. There's a landing light that's not done over there. The gear's not on it. The door's not on back there. There's just kind of a dry fit. It's really looking great here. I think these are pictures I sent to my brother just showing just what kind of how it's coming together, how well it looks. There's a good close-up of the modeling on the side. The radios, I forgot those in. Those are, I think I told everybody countless times before maybe that those radio wires done with lead wire. I had to set, and that super glue was horrible to work with. There's landing gear finally on it. And I chose the blue. A lot of planes I'd seen on the Hornet had the same color landing gear as the rest of the plane. So I went with that. Showed it on the box too. The kit with the box shows George Bush's plane. This is supposed to be. He flew a TBM-3 also in the war. So that's the decals that came with it. There you see the rear hatch where the crew door is. Oh boy, that right there when the torpedo's on, it actually kind of has a metallic look about it. Looks excellent. I actually did that torpedo I used AK polished chrome, and then I put down Tamiya brown on top of it, and kind of got this kind of dirty copper look with it. Of course, I came back in with brass on the prop that propels the torpedo. Now here's the Hornet. Here's the USS Hornet. This is after the war. There's 4 carriers here. They're all going in. Look at the deck. So I got the idea of what am I going to mount this to? What am I going to display it on? So I found a carrier deck on eBay that was made out of plastic. But look at the colors on that. See the white line over there? So here, this was what I got in the really easy. I just put down deck tan of all things, and I came back through with some oils, some burnt umber, some browns, and put it down. And then to make the different colored planks, I put a gloss coat down before I put the oils on. I came back through with a Q-tip and just kind of uncolored them. Of course, the deck, I'll show you again here. The deck has, I had to go get some testers, deck blue, because they did paint the decks towards the end of the war a blue, and it's kind of camouflage. But of course, it wore off real quick. The white stripes there. So that was basically my whole reference there. There's a lot of streakiness, blacks. You can tell they've been. I've actually been on the Hornet in Alameda. Those planks are huge on there. Of course, they had fires on them, oil leaks on them. Here's some actual footage. Here's where I did the anti-slip walkway. I ground up. I couldn't find the video and the pictures I had of grinding up couscous with my mortar and pestle. But you get a fine enough media, you put Mr. Surfacer 500, which is almost like a rubberized media. I taped it off. I put that down first. Then I sprinkled this ground couscous as fine as I could on there. And I came back with Mr. Surfacer 500 my airbrush, and I just started gooping on top of it as well. And I kept adding layers and layers. And at the end of it, when it dried, I actually came back through, sanded it down a little bit, and I laid the black down on top of it. Of course, now I've got the VMS product, which I think would look a lot better, more in scale. The left side walkway. Oh, here I've done chipping and weathering. I went back through and I took a lot of this out because it kind of got a little too. It was just a little too gaudy for me, too bright. Here it is on top of the deck, of course. I still don't have the landing light. I had almost everything done. The canopy's in place. Everything's done, but I have antennas on the bottom, which you saw in the final video, if you watched the Billy Hooton video. Just a lot of silver in there with the wear. I just decided to cut down on it. This plane, the Avengers they flew, were pretty fresh off the assembly line. And there's the tail hook right there. I was pleased with that. I need to go back through and do more chipping and stuff on it. But the planes came off the assembly line. They flew them to Pearl. And from Pearl, they flew them onto the Hornet in about December or January. And of course, Billy Hooton was shot down on the 24th of March. So he's only in combat for a couple months before he was missing in action. Here's the other side of the anti-slip. It didn't turn out as good. I tried. See, the wing has a gap in it. There's another reason why I folded the wings back. I folded the wings back because the hinge points didn't fit well to me, and it was huge. The model is huge, so folding the wings back, of course, saves space. You could put it in under glass, make it look a lot better that way. But see, the weathering, I cut down on a lot of that. I came back through and I hit it with some black and did my whole marbling effect on it again and got rid of a lot of it. The canopy came out, I'm telling you, the Montex works so good. And it had some stickies on it, but I got it off with white spirit, and the white spirit works really well with the Q-tip. It takes the goo off of your glass, and it doesn't look too bad. Here we go. Just kind of a finished product here. Up there in those, I didn't do a lot there. To get the wings to stay back, I actually CA glued that hinge. That hinge is awful. It looks gaudy. I know I've rambled a lot on this video, but thanks for watching. If you haven't seen my Billy Hooton tribute video, go watch it. It fills in a lot of holes on the history of the pilot who flew this, why I put it together, things like that. Anyway, if you have any comments, just put them in the comments section on YouTube. Give a thumbs up if you liked it. And as always, thanks for watching. See you later, guys. Thanks.